Hello, and welcome to Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, LaserKid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Ho ho ho! I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description. And indeed, Merry Christmas! This is our Christmas episode, y'all, if it actually makes it, which it should, but it might not, but it should.
So, very quick and dirty, just some presents from us to you.
Yes.
And to each other.
Yes, indeed. On this wonderful Christmas morning, I hope it's nice. I hope you're with family and friends. I hope you got some good Christmas presents going. And if you don't do Christmas, I hope you have a good time anyway.
Yep. Happy Wintermas to all my gaming buddies.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers that.
Good old Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yes, it is time. What gifts do we have? Anime, of course! Anime for the masses! Yep. We have anime recommendations for you all. Things that we think you might like that you may have missed over the years. And we also have ones for each other. Dun dun dun.
Yep. So here on our timeline, we started chatting after we just did the awards show. We literally just finished like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. And we were just chatting about, wouldn't it be great if we could put out a cute little thing for Christmas? And then we're like, you know what? Why don't we give the gift of anime recommendations? And we were thinking, we'll go up, wait, and come back and do it tomorrow. And then we each came up with 3 of them plus a joint one inside of 3 minutes. So, we're like, why don't we just do this now before we collapse?
That's a good idea.
So, we're going to keep this short because LK's got quite enough to edit.
Yay, editing!
Basically, what we're going to do is each of us is going to give, just like we did in the awards show, we're going to give 3 recommendations of anime that, depending on how long you've been in the fandom or what your interests are, you may well not have seen, but which we like. And then we're going to give a joint recommendation, and then we're each going to give one recommendation to the other.
Indeed. So, Ark, why don't you start with your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is Mobile Suit Gundam Seed.
Very interesting choice for you, because that could have been for me. If you hadn't, I might have.
Yeah, it's, I've seen a number of Gundam shows, or at least bits of them. This is the one that actually is coherent, I think. It is a pretty damn good story. Now, it's worth noting that there are 2 different dubs for this. There's the old dub and the new dub. Both are good. Yeah, both of them are good. I prefer the old Ocean dub because that's what I first experienced.
Same, but the new dub is actually
I do not wish to say a word against the new cast. I do think the old cast is slightly better suited to their characters, but that's probably just bias on my part.
I tend to feel the same
almost
way.
Certainly. Almost certainly bias. It's almost certainly psychological bias because we're just so used to them from so many years of watching the show over and over again, at least speaking for myself.
Oh, no, you have no... I have watched the show so many times. It's one of my absolute favorites. It is my favorite of the series. So you should note we're talking about Seed. You might want to avoid Seed Destiny.
Yeah. This only applies to the original show. There's a lot of follow-on media. It's been hit and miss, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions about that, which I don't share because I have not watched any of them on purpose because I don't want to taint my memories of this show I love. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, Gundam Seed is a really good show with great characters, great story, fantastic animation. Robots go burr. It's fun.
Yep. All right. And so what's your number 3?
My number 3 would not have been possible because one of our big rules is this either has to be in print or streaming somewhere. This would not have been possible without the magic wizardry of freaking Discotek Media putting it back into print. But it's Dual Parallel Trouble Adventure. This is part of the Tenchi Muyo universe. Part of the OVA universe, I should clarify. Oh, multiverse, rather. This involves 2 parallel universes, actually. Neither of which is the Tenchi universe.
And this is before the thing had been done to death, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No, this was in the 90s or 2000s, something like that. I first saw this in 2003 on Tech TV. Duel is a fantastic show. It's on Blu-ray, definitely worth picking up. I need to pick up that Blu-ray myself. I have old Bandai DVDs that have been promised through Darrell the second I get that Blu-ray. So, yeah, Duel is so good. I actually bought the show when we were living together, Archangel. I don't know if you remember when I got them, but I was bouncing off walls.
Nope. And again, trying to keep this short.
Yes. But yeah,
it's for your sake.
Good, good, fun parallel adventure silliness, but also mecha.
Yep. All right, and my number 2 is The Galaxy Railways, which I didn't even realize is I only saw this once back when I lived with LK, and I didn't think I thought I'd have to use certain means we don't talk about if I ever wanted to see it again. Turns out it's on freaking Crunchyroll.
It is out of print, at least as far as I can tell. It's on Amazon as not available. You might be able to find it elsewhere. It definitely had a release.
Oh yeah, I know, because that's how I watched it. On LK's copy, which I assume he still has.
Oh, you bet your butt I still have it.
But it's on Crunchyroll. There'll be a links to everything in the description, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So two major points. I can never remember the guy's name, the animator who Galaxy Express 39 and so forth. What was the guy's name?
Matsumoto.
Yeah, so it's a him show, and this is not quite accurate, but close enough for government work. Imagine sort of kind of Star Trek, but with trains in space instead of starships. It's wonderful and wonderfully silly and wonderful. I adore this show.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I think you will too.
It's a good, fun adventure. Lots of heartfelt moments, good characters. Good times.
And it's trains in space, which never fails to make me laugh my ass off. Because it's stupid, but it's awesome.
It fully commits. That's what makes it work.
Yeah, it trains with battleship guns and stuff. Like out of a Nazi's wet dream type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because who doesn't like trains with giant guns on them?
It's beautiful. My number 2 is couple of seasons old. It's probably the most recent thing on this list. It's your boy Kongming. Look, we talked at length about Jellyfish. We talked at length about Oshinoko. If you like music entertainment industry storylines, and you like music, you gotta check out your boy Kongming.
Yes.
It also has the absolute catchiest intro song ever.
Oh yeah, it's up there, and it's just so delightful. I am convinced that it exists on some level in the same continuity as Jellyfish. At least I pray so. So do you want to give the elevator pitch, or should I?
For Kongming?
Yeah.
Kongming, as in the Kongming of history in Chinese warfare, has been brought after he died in China to modern-day Japan in his younger body. And he thinks he's in hell, but he finds music, and he loves it. He finds a musician he loves, and he decides he's going to use his technical genius to help her become famous.
Who is just one of the most beautiful people in all of anime, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
Eiko's a wonderful person, and she's also very pretty.
Yeah, well, I meant every possible way you could mean the word beautiful.
Yes, I agree. All right, Art, what is your number 1?
And my number 1, now you got to get the right one because I can only speak to one of these, is the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. So Ghost in the Shell, yeah. So I'm gonna need a few minutes. So first of all, this is the older of the two. There's a remake with the same voice cast, I think, at least in English, that I've heard good things about, but I haven't seen. So that's on Netflix, I think you said, right?
That's
okay.
Not a remake; it's a continuation.
Okay, well, anyway, I can only speak to the first 2 seasons. The first season is the one that, like, everyone needs to see. The second season, I'll talk about briefly in a moment. So basically, this is one of the archetypical cyberpunk formative things, at least as far as I can tell. It's a relatively near future where mind-machine interface, people being able to jack directly into the net and stuff, is mainstream, and it's a crime drama around a very specialized unit of Japanese police officers, most of whom are ex-military. and so it was originally, I believe, a manga, right?
Yes, Ghost in the Shell started out as a manga, and most
Right, and
famously was a anime movie in the '90s, which was one of
which
the blew up anime
right,
fandom at
but
the time. I'm not the biggest
was
fan,
not.
but
Yeah, because the thing is, the leading lady, who's the character named Motoko Kusanagi, also known simply as the Major, she has a rather loose sense of dress code, which is just how she is. But a lot of people seem to take that the wrong way and play up the sexual elements, which is just kind of an incidental aspect of how this character dresses. There's in reality, she's tough as nails, a ex special forces operator who's now a very very good cop, and she's just all business. Why she dresses like that, I don't know. Probably just because anime, because Japan. But anyway, yeah, but this show, the first season in particular, just did a fantastic job of adapting this very deep and surprisingly philosophical, in the best sci-fi and cyberpunk tradition. There's a lot of philosophy, particularly in regard to the Tachikomas, who I'm not going to explain what they are. We'd be here for another 10 minutes. All the love to the Tachikomas. Go watch it. You'll see.
oh, they're
Um,
adorable.
season two, the opening episode is amazing. The second episode of season two, just fucking skip it. It's boring. It's stupid. It's irrelevant to anything. I almost dropped season two after watching it. The rest of the season is fine. It gets a lot more weird than season one, but to my mind, a good way. But I don't think season two is necessarily to everybody's taste.
I'll agree with that. There is also a follow-up movie that takes place between that and the Netflix show.
Okay.
Solid State Society. It is still Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Solid State Society. Very good movie. And if you haven't seen that
Okay,
arc,
which I have not. I have not.
I'm gonna fix
So I
that.
need to see that.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
fix that
that and the
for you.
continuity, I do need to check those out.
All right. It's number one for me. And thankfully this is a little more known because it did air on Toonami recently, but it's still not known enough. SSSS Gridman and its continuation slash spin-off, Dyna Xenon. Oh my god, someone took a tokusatsu show and made it an anime. I don't know what else to tell you. It's all the love for tokusatsu in anime form. Gridman itself was, in fact, a tokusatsu in the 90s. We even got it here in the United States as Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, spelled with the S's, hence the SSSS. That's actually a deliberate reference to it.
Cute.
Gridman is a fantastic action show, but it's also a really good psychological show. They really dive into some serious psychological issues, particularly for the main antagonist, who is secretly the main character. She's the antagonist, but also the protagonist. It's really weird.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking with you. I haven't seen this yet.
I'm not. You may or may not like it. I'm not sure.
We'll find out
We'll try
someday.
sometime. Yeah.
We'll find out someday. All right. And so for the one that we both immediately went to, that we're jointly recommending on top of our top three, is Nishijo, which
It's
translates
too great.
directly into English as My Ordinary Life.
Well, every day.
Okay. Really?
Nishijo's every day. But
Oh goodness.
the show sometimes my everyday life, and wow, I do not like slice of life. It is like my least favorite genre of anime, and yet this show
I wouldn't class this primarily as slice of life. I'd class it primarily as comedy,
it is a comedy.
but it's definitely both.
It is both. My point is, this is not something I normally would be into.
Right. The way I summarize Nichijou when I'm telling people about it is, you know how completely ordinary things can seem so intense and important when you're in the middle of them, and then afterwards you look back at and you barely remember it.
Yep.
What if we made an anime about those moments as they occur in the moment, and also the weird things that occur to people when they're bored in class and so forth? So that's basically this show, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I think that's about right. It's also bonkers as all hell.
Oh yeah. It follows in the tradition of Azumanga Daioh, but I would recommend this over that because I think
Same.
it's more commonly accessible.
But both
Um,
are in print. Both are very much in print.
well, I meant in terms of being able to get into the show for like anybody.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I plan to show this to my mom at some point if they ever get a Blu-ray player. Um,
It's
you
on
know, things like that.
Crunchyroll.
There's a thought. Yeah, I might do that over Christmas. But yeah, it's just funny. Um,
It's and the characters are adorable. They're funny.
yeah,
You root
yeah,
for them.
yeah. When you start out,
Also,
there's two groups of characters. There's one group of three girls and two others plus a cat who live by themselves. The two at first they're in the same continuity, but they're completely disconnected. They do eventually connect. Um, but and it does have continuity. The funny thing is, it's literally the cast of thousands. Everybody you encounter who's not imagined is a real person in living in this town, and they all have names and backstories and interactions, and it keeps track of it. Is the hell of it,
oh yeah,
and it's
no, it's fun.
beautiful.
It's fun. It's wacky, and it's a comedy with a budget. They really have fun with the animation.
Yeah, yeah. The animation is half the reason to watch this because it's again, what if we took just completely ordinary stuff and just dramatized the shit out of it?
Indeed.
One other thing that's just kind of a weird thing is the internet discovered when Chainsaw Man dropped that if you swap the intro songs of Nichijou and Chainsaw Man, they fit to each other's intro animations perfectly,
Yes, that's really freaking
which
weird.
is just kind of appropriate if you watch them both. So once you've watched Nichijou, well, first of all, also watch Chainsaw Man. At least if you've got a stomach for crazy shit and
Indeed.
disturbing shit. And then, definitely watch the transpositions. You can find them on YouTube.
And if you like Chainsaw Man, read the manga. It's on the on the Shonen Jump app, $3 a month.
Right.
But I guess it's time for us to give each other a present.
All right. So I guess I'm going first. So mine, it comes with the caveat of you should wait to watch this until you are sick.
Ah,
Because while it's good to watch anytime, this is one of the shows along with rewatching some of Laid Back Camp, which I still recommend to you, but you've heard me talk about that. Um, this helped me get over my recent cold from hell.
okay,
It's in a similar vein. It's called Let's Make a Mug 2, TOO.
okay.
And it's basically this father and daughter move back to a town where her deceased mother is from. Her mother died when she was relatively little, and it turns out her mother was something of a a ceramics prodigy,
Mm-hmm.
and the daughter decides she's going to take a crack at it too. And so it's very comfy, very cute. Speaks to one's artistic soul. It also features the most spastic side character in the history of side characters. And I mean that in a good way, but oh my god, I would probably strangle this girl if I was to meet her in real life. I mean, she's a wonderful person, but oh my god, calm down, child. Um this is a high schooler, so she doesn't even have the excuse of being in it. But you'll know who I mean if you watch this show. So that along with Laid Back Camp, the next time you're laid low by Grandfather Nurgle, okay, I highly recommend this and Laid Back Camp to you for your recuperation.
Thank you very much. I will
Yeah.
definitely keep those in mind.
It also does a really cute thing where with for the four primary girls, their voice actresses, they actually had them go on location to do try pottery and look around places and this sort of stuff. So like for every episode of the show, there's an episode of this live action thing, which I didn't find interesting, but it's a cool thing, and it's all on Crunchyroll right along with the episodes. So if
All
you're into
right.
that,
All right, Ark, I've got one for you.
all right.
There's a show that came out in 2020 before we started watching anime regularly with each other called Id Invaded.
As in Sigmund Freud.
Yes.
All right.
The story follows a cop, or rather a ex-cop, who's now in jail because a criminal murdered his family, and he went for he went Dirty Harry on them, on the
Mhm.
criminal,
As you do.
as you do. But part of his parole, as it were, part of his ability to not be stuck in jail, is he's part of this program called It Invaded. They have this new technology where where we have a crime, we know who the criminal is, but we don't know what happened, or we have a victim of a crime, we don't know who the criminal is. It goes both ways.
Hmm.
We put them in this machine, and we put a detective, when this is our main character, is one of those detectives, and you dive into their brain. And you want someone with an inquisitive mind, because when you go into someone else's mind, you lose sense of who you were. You don't know who you are,
Huh.
but you keep your inquisitive mind, and you're inside their mind, and you're finding out what's going on, and you can piece together. Now the whole thing is recorded, so the guys on the outside can see in and see what's going on.
Hmm.
But the detective's job is to piece together what happened, and it gets really cerebral real quick. This
All right
also
then.
is a show that very emotional. Main character does get a sequence where he is forced to dive into his own mind, and you can imagine what happens there.
Oh yeah. Well, I imagine just going into the minds of people who've either been traumatized or doing horrible things is not healthy for you.
No, it's really not.
Because
Um,
when you pitch that, made me think of a character from Shadowrun Hong Kong, a side character you run into in one mission who used to is late of New York City, was a cop there, and he's a spiritualist, shaman, and
mhm.
his thing was he used to take readings of objects to gather clues, and eventually he's like, it was either skip town or slit my own wrists. And you
Ooh.
actually, you're solving a murder, so he'll give you advice, but if you ask him to do a reading, he'll tell you to fuck off. Yes, he's like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
But to get a sense of the art style, I sent you a little picture of the Blu-ray.
okay, very interesting.
I do think you'd very much like it. You like your psychological dramas, and
Hmm,
there is, of course, a conspiracy, because it's, what could
naturally,
possibly go wrong with a machine that lets you dive into another person's brain? What could possibly go wrong?
nothing whatsoever. Technology like that would never be abused.
Especially by the government.
Of
The
course not.
government would
Well,
never
people within
abuse
the
it.
government.
Yeah, no one in the government would ever abuse such technology. It would only ever be used
Yeah,
for good.
indeed.
But yeah, I think
All
you'd
right,
very
so
much
that
like
is
that one.
added to my watch list.
All right. It's a good 13 episode run. It is one of those shows that is self-contained. It's only 13 episodes long, but I don't actually want a season 2, because it's resolved. Everything is done. It's a complete story.
All right then.
Well, yeah, those are our Christmas gifts to you and to each other. Although the ones to each other, you are of course more than welcome to check out as well. Because the gift of anime is the gift to everyone in general.
All right. So, our sponsor for this episode is you, our lovely and loyal viewers. So thank you for sponsoring us. Give yourselves a pat on the head, and I expect that check in the mail.
Indeed.
That check for absolutely nothing.
The
So,
$0 check. Yeah, that $0 always is good.
yeah, and if you don't send me that $0 check, I am going to sick my non-existent lawyer on you.
You will
So,
give us a $0 check. You will.
mhm.
All right.
All right.
Well, that is it for this holiday themed episode of Simuldub Saints. So, Ark, where can the people find you?
At home with my family, presumably, unless I get freaking sick again between now and when you're listening to this, but hopefully not. In any case, you can leave a comment here on YouTube, comment in various social places that LK is about to talk about. But otherwise, I do not do social media.
Indeed. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at LaserKid Prime, Blue Sky at LaserKid, and you can find me over on Toonami Faithful, both their awesome podcasts with friends of the podcast, Sketch and Kuro, who guest frequently. We love you guys. And my editorials are there on their website whenever I actually write them. As for Simuldub Saints, you can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Simuldub Saints, and we have that wonderful Facebook group that you can get to through following links on YouTube or Spotify podcasts. So, yeah.
Oh, something that just occurred to me. One group of people we have forgotten to explicitly thank is everyone who has been a guest of ours over this past year.
All of you, all of our guests. Thank you so much. J-Mac, Sketch, Kuro,
Dragon.
Ampren. It's been lovely to have you all around.
Lord?
We did have V-Lord for Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, we're probably forgetting some people too. So
We are
sorry
almost-
about that. We love you anyway.
Yeah, if you've guested for us, we are incredibly grateful. And that goes forward to anybody we have in the future. It is an honor to have people with us, and it is an honor to have you guys listening to us.
All right.
So yeah, that about does it for this holiday episode of Simuldub Saints. So until next time, Merry Christmas!